Hello, today I'm going to go over how to make Grandma Rita bread. I was fortunate enough to sit with Grandma Rita, and she showed me over and over again how to make it. It took me many times, many errors, and I think I'm pretty close, not as good as Grandma's of course, but hopefully someday I will be. So to start off, you need a large bowl, and I already added the flour to it. And I just use a 5-pound bag of flour like such that you can purchase at the store. Grandma Rita always used Robin Hood flour. This is just the cheapo brand I purchased. Works okay, maybe not as good as Grandma, maybe that's the secret. And then you take about a handful of salt. And I already added the salt, of course, but the handful is about, say, this size of salt. And you just mix. And before I do all this mixing, I actually take just a little half cup of warm water with about 1 teaspoon of sugar and 1 package of yeast. Doesn't really matter the brand of yeast, I just use this Active Dry. 1 package in the cup, and as you can see, it's already started. We've activated the yeast, and it went a little crazy because I was waiting a bit to do it. Normally I don't let it get overflowing like that, but that will initiate or wake up the yeast so that when we add it to the bread, it's ready to go.
So you use 1 yeast packet and what?
And just like maybe a tablespoon of sugar or so. You can use honey, some type of starch, because that's what it likes to eat.
In
warm
water?
Warm water, not hot, because you'll kill the yeast. So now that the salt is all mixed in, make a little bowl in the middle. And I use a warm water. Try to get all the yeast. 1, that's 2, that's 3, I'll start there. I also recommend using an apron. It gets everywhere, at least it does for me. And just mix it in. That's 3, so let's keep going. 4. I usually get about 6. And you don't want the water boiling hot because that will bake your bread. There's 5. You might need a little bit more today. I think Grandma would just put it under the faucet. She was good at that. Get it pretty good. Okay. Always have flour on the side, that's helpful.
For getting the flour off?
Yeah. Otherwise it'll stick to your fingers when you're moving it. Yeah, it's going to stick to your fingers no matter what, but my own personal preference. I think this should be ready to knead. I usually would like to start a little bit more wet than I would dry. It's always easier to add more flour than it is to add more water. This one looks a little bit drier than I normally do.
So you're like folding it, or?
I'm trying to gather it and clump it into a ball. I think I will add a couple more drops. Once I get it into a ball, then I can actually do the kneading. There we go. And I just keep adding flour so it doesn't stick to my hands. Which is why I'd rather start wet than dry. You can see I'm starting to get the shape of the dough. You can see how Grandma Rita probably lost her ring while making bread one time. It's getting a little tacky. And so, grab, grab, push, grab, grab, push. Notice I'm spinning the ball as I go. I don't think Grandma did this, it's just something I've learned with time. Trying to incorporate the sides. And now it's starting to form a nice dough, and you really want to knead it well to make sure the yeast is in equal proportion along with the salt throughout the dough. And try to incorporate the sides. There we go. To get a little of the stuff off the side, I just take my nails and bring it along, wet hand. Being careful not to add too much water because it will sit on the bottom, and then when you're making the little handfuls of dough so you pat it and dry it, it'll be really sticky, and it's tough to work with when it's really sticky. And then a little water on top. All right. Then, Grandma used to take towels. I've been using saran wrap. I find that I don't get the hard film on the top as easy. You want to put the bread in a nice warm area. In the wintertime, what I like to do is I might turn the oven on to 200 degrees, turn it off, wait 15-20 minutes just so it's warm in there, and I put the bread inside at that point. If it's too hot, it melts your saran wrap, and I've experienced that before, so be careful of doing that. And you want to get a nice seal. And when this does rise, it will stick to the top, so you might lose maybe like a quarter cup of it, which stinks because that could be in like another loaf of bread. It's just to keep the air out so the top doesn't harden. So I already had my oven on earlier today. Actually, take my peppers out of there because they're dry. And I put it in. And in 6 hours, it'll be double the size, if not more. And I'll get back to you on how to actually make the bread then.